Dr. Michael Meighen, last name is Meighen. I am a physiatrist stationed in Huntersville, North Carolina, which is just outside of Charlotte. The name of my practice is Interventional Orthopedics and Restorative Medicine Specialist, and it's a brand new practice. I'm going to kind of tell you my story in the beginning, kind of how I got to where I am and where I would like to go. So I had some injuries in high school, broke my right leg playing football, had 2 subsequent surgeries to that. So that's how I kind of got a feeling and love for science and or for medicine. Kind of helped launch my career into musculoskeletal medicine, the things I enjoy doing. Moving forward, I majored in biology in college at the University of Toledo, did medical school at the University of Cincinnati, and then did my residency at Caroline's Medical Center in Charlotte and my musculoskeletal fellowship at the University of Florida in Gainesville. Since that point, I have worked primarily in the Concord, Kannapolis area, North Carolina, initially with a smaller orthopedic group and then with a larger orthopedic group, which I have subsequently left and started to launch my own program. So, looking at where I am with treatments and or my frustrations with healthcare, one of the things is it's become very depersonalized and very fragmented. Everybody seems to have their little piece or their little niche that they want to just focus on. And unfortunately, I don't think folks look at the whole person any further. And there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of things, in my opinion, that are very important to try to look at and or treat. And in my opinion, there are no insignificant pieces of information. I think it's all incredibly important to try to delve into the person a little bit deeper and or to try to heal them fully. In my opinion, looking at health, I think it's fourfold. 1, it's how you feel. 2, it's how you look. 3, it's how you interact with other folks. And 4th, it's how you function. And I think those 4 parts work together well. And I think if you're missing and or not addressing each of those 4 parts, you can start having some issues. A little more background on myself. Family-wise, I've dealt with things such as cancer. My father unfortunately died from colon cancer, so cancers unfortunately have become incredibly prevalent in this society, and unfortunately are getting worse and worse. And there are many reasons for that. A lot of it's felt to be environment. A lot of it's felt to be our diet. A lot of it's felt to be even some of the pharmaceuticals and some of the other things that we would hope would help us, but unfortunately haven't done so. My daughter has dealt with an eating disorder issue and is still dealing with some gastrointestinal problems that are still being managed. My son has dealt with attention deficit disorder issues basically for his entire life. So I'm not telling these things to bring everybody down, but just kind of show that even though I'm in the healthcare field, still deal with issues similar to everybody else. So my plan moving forward at this stage is to try to focus basically on health, and or I think there are 3 specific ways to do that. 1 is to try to work on diet and nutrition. I think that's an incredibly important part of health, and or a lot of, let me say again, it's a part that unfortunately seems to be pushed to the side a great deal in most medical healthcare visits. And there's a couple reasons for that. When we go to medical school, we really don't get a lot of training in diet and nutrition. Believe it or not, it's probably just a couple lectures or maybe even a day's worth. And we focus much more on disease, and we don't really focus a great deal on prevention and trying to get people better from that standpoint. So I think that's an incredibly important part, and not just looking at what you eat, how much you eat, what supplementation you may need, and trying to help improve your situation from that standpoint. Second part, and probably in my opinion the most important part, is the exercise component. And again, it doesn't have to be 3 hours of activity or exercise daily. I think it can be whatever you can perform or do on a regular basis to try to challenge your body. Unfortunately, as we get older, exercise goes by the wayside. We get busy with life, jobs, family, stress, all kinds of other things that kind of impact our ability to do the things we want to do, and basically we become stiff, we become weak, which ultimately makes us tired, which makes our posture poor, and a number of other things that really can affect your health and lifestyle, which goes on into pain, which goes on into potential sleep issues, which goes on into increasing stress, and a number of things, unfortunately, that cause us problems. And then the third part is looking at ways to try to allow our bodies to heal themselves, and that's where activities or things such as regenerative medicine can be very helpful, whether you're looking at hormone replacement, whether you're looking at injection procedures, including things like prolotherapy, platelet-rich plasma, stem cells, and even any other substances that sometimes can be of benefit to try to restore structure or integrity, and also try to heal certain body parts. Unfortunately, growing up in a large orthopedic group, I saw a number of surgeries that probably were done, I don't want to say incorrectly, but were done out of necessity because they didn't feel like there was anything else they could do for the patient, or were done at times, unfortunately, for financial gains and weren't completed or performed with the patient's health in mind. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had orthopedic surgery before, going back to my issues with my legs, and that was necessary because, you know, the bone was growing off awkwardly. So there are certain instances where surgery is definitely the treatment of choice. But if you're looking at most of the orthopedic and musculoskeletal literature, probably about 90 to 95% of problems can be treated conservatively. And this is where things like diet, exercise, restorative medicine, functional medicine, those type things can be incredibly helpful in trying to help improve the situation. Yes, unfortunately, in this time period, we want everything done yesterday. We want it very quick. We want it to be over in one visit or one injection, that sort of thing. That's not the way this is going to be. This is going to be a bit of a time commitment. The way I usually explain it to my patients is kind of like a 401k. If you're investing early when you start working in your 20s and you continue to do that, you're going to have a good amount of cash at the end that you can retire on, or maybe even retire early. If you start doing these things or start investing in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, you're still going to have some money, but unfortunately you're not going to have the gains that you had previously. So everybody starts at a different point zero. Some people have exercised and done things since they were in high school, and those folks may potentially do better, but not always. But even if you haven't done a darn thing and have been, you know, kind of sedentary for up until your 50s and still feel like you want to benefit, there are definitely some things that can be done. And a lot of the literature suggests that things can turn around relatively quickly, but it's going to take a commitment to do these things on a regular basis. And if done correctly, it definitely can be things that can impact health, can decrease health costs, can improve overall quality of lifespan, and help improve your ability to do the things you want to do, whether that's sports, whether that's play with your grandchildren, whether that's hike, whether that's take a trip around the world, whatever your goals are. What we're going to try to do is try to morph that into treating you as an individual as opposed to just an injury. And I think that's the most incredible portion in trying to focus the attention on the specific needs of that patient as opposed to, well, we treat all the knees the same, or we treat all the shoulders the same, or we treat all the backs the same. There are similarities to what we'll do, but again, we're going to assess you and we're going to try to do some things that are going to be specific to your needs. And that may change over a period of time, and it may take us, again, multiple visits to do so. But I think if you understand the time commitment, are willing to kind of contract with myself and the rest of our providers, I think we can make a significant impact into this issue. So main take-home message at this point is I want folks that want to, thrive and not just exist. I want folks that want to be proactive and not reactive to their health care. I want folks that want to kind of keep problems from occurring as opposed to treating them as they come up, which is kind of our healthcare model right at this stage. So if that is where you'd like to go, I would love to see you as a patient. please call phone number 704-997-6530. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.